I suppose, two reasonably evenly matched teams, Tomas.
Yes, I suppose that's the beauty of the game tonight, Claire. I mean, they wouldn't have had shown great form in the league, but I mean, Liam Dunn, first year in charge of Wexford, I think at the start of the campaign he set out championship was his goal, you know, so he gets his first start tonight as a Wexford manager, and I'm sure, I mean, being the player that Liam Dunn was in the past, you know, that they will be very, very much fired up for this game. And likewise on the other side, Ollie Baker back with Offaly, you know, in charge of Offaly, home venue, should be a big Offaly support behind the team here tonight. So it's very, very hard to separate the teams, Claire. And as we're standing here, there's a big breeze blowing down the side of the field, so that could be the difference in the end.
Yeah, and rain starting too. We're expecting more rain. That could have an effect on it.
Yes, I mean, by the stories we're going around the country that there is a lot of rain after falling, and we haven't got it yet here in O'Connor Park. But if it comes, it could spoil the spectacle. You know, hopefully we'll stay away because we don't have floodlights here, and it could get very, very dark and make it very difficult for hurling.
Okay, so call it. Who's going to go win tonight?
I have a slight fancy for Wexford. I think Liam Dunn taking over there. He's managed the Ballot before and played a very attractive style of hurling, and I think he set up his goal. This first round of the championship, this is where he wants to be at.
Okay, Mosa, thank you for your...
For the road back to redemption again, back to find that kind of form.
Yeah, I suppose both of them, when you go back to the 90s, they were, you know, dividing the Leinster titles and getting sort of a few All-Irelands among Kilkenny, but they've probably slipped back a little bit in the last couple of years. But tonight is a golden opportunity for one of them to step forward again. You know, Offaly probably a little bit more experienced team, Wexford a few young lads.
Do you think that it's a case of Wexford and Offaly going backwards, or have your crowd down in Kilkenny just blotted everybody else off the landscape?
It's hard to know, I suppose. Just even talking to a few Wexford lads coming in, I suppose, and Wexford supporters by nature are very optimistic, and even tonight they weren't as optimistic, but they probably have slipped back a little bit. Maybe, you know, when you look at their minors, they haven't really been as successful, you know, and usually that was what fed Offaly and put them where they were, and the same with Wexford. So I suppose they'll have to go back to basics and maybe invest in youth again, but look, I suppose, as we said, we know Kilkenny have been the dominant force in Leinster for the last couple of years, and they're just probably trying to play a bit of catch-up.
Liam, what do you expect out of this one?
Yeah, well, back to the point you make, I think, you know, they'd love to. I think both counties here would love to have the last 15 years back. I think, you know, Wexford won in '96 and Offaly won in '98, and they never really capitalised on it. I mean, really, that should have been the spur on to make sure that you had the structures right, that the young teams are coming through. And you know, when you look at a county like Wexford, like they haven't won a minor title since 1968. Offaly won 3 minor titles in the '80s. So you know, they're trying to build a team, even though they haven't had the underage success. And both teams are struggling. You know, okay, Wexford are coming a little bit maybe at the 21 grade, but you know, back in the late '80s, I mean, Offaly were a real driving force at minor and 20 and 21. I think that's what gave them the success in the '90s. So you know, they are starting tonight. I think both teams obviously are coming in knowing that tonight, I think since the draw was made at the start of the year, they would have said, look, this is the match we've got to target. Yeah. Definitely for Liam Dunn, he's new manager in. Ollie Baker's new in. It'll be interesting to see, you know, in Wexford.
Ollie, your first taste of the Leinster Championship, and it's been a while since Offaly have beaten Wexford in the Championship.
Yeah, it's 12 years, so hopefully we won't be counting onto that figure after today. So really looking forward to the game and the challenges ahead, so can't wait for it to get started.
How much will home advantage count tonight?
Well, hopefully, we're obviously hoping it's going to count for us, but really this is a 50-50 game. I mean, the games played between Offaly and Wexford over the last number of years have been very tight affairs, and I can't see that this is going to be any different. So it's really going to come down to the last 10 minutes of the match, and hopefully we'll be in a position to give ourselves a chance of winning the game.
Liam, just like Ollie Baker, I suppose, your first championship game in charge. How have Wexford's preparations been since the league ended?
It's gotten well, Claire. You know, we're picking from a full bill of health, so we've no excuses coming up here this evening. It's all about performing in 70 minutes, and I think the lads are ready for this.
You're in a rebuilding phase, I suppose, for championship newcomers.
Yeah, I think we've actually 5 newcomers. I think, and Éanna Martin starts in the goal for his first championship game as well, even though he's been in the panel for a couple of years and had games outfield, but it wasn't easy to take Damien Fitzhenry out of goal for a few years, but that's what it's about. This is rebuilding, and but look, we've been building for the last number of weeks, getting ready for this game, and it comes down to the 70 minutes against Offaly, and what better place to be than in O'Connor Park this evening.
Plenty of experience to spring from the bench should you need it.
That's right. You know, Darren Stamp didn't make the team, and you know, we've lots of experience in the team as well, in Keith Rossiter and Owen Quigley and PJ Nolan and these guys, but as I've said, I've repeated already there, you know, it's going to come down to 70 minutes of a battle here, but we'd settle for the half-time score there in the first game any day.
That's the views of the managers in our game coming up. Offaly against Wexford. We've had one game already here.
Wexford positionally as Diarmuid Horan Porrickson takes the free for Offaly, playing into the wind, and that's caught in the air brilliantly, shoveled out to Brendan Murphy. Murphy through. Somehow the ball prevented from going through to A&M. Ball tucked away. And a scrappy start. We had the goal chance for Brendan Murphy. And there's the shot from Paul Morris, and Morris slots that one over. He's the guy I mentioned from Fern St Aidan's, who is one to watch, a very tidy hurler, drifts into positions, leaves markers for dead. That was a good point. Wexford lead in Tullamore.
Yeah, as you're saying, Dara, it was, I mean, maybe a sloppy start, but conditions are going to dictate an awful lot here. I mean, people have been slipping already on the ground. You know, the ground is very, very wet, even though the surface, it is fantastic here in Tullamore. It's a great setting, but we've had a lot of rain in the last hour or so.
Offaly go into Cathal Tarlin, another star of the Coolderry run to the All-Ireland final. Tarlin been forced backwards, looking for help, and he's got some help too from Shane Dooley, and there's the equaliser. Their scorer supreme, 112-113 he got against Dublin last year, and he's off the mark at O'Connor Park.
Yeah, it's a very good score, and against the breeze there, I mean, it's clear that Offaly are going to play a two-man.
We'll cut this. Oh, he's made good contact with that. He's made fantastic contact with it. Diarmuid Ling. Wexford lead by 2 points to 1. They missed him last year.
Yeah, it's a great score in difficult conditions, but I mean, I said the surface is fantastic, so you just put a slit around at the top of the grass.
Manager before Ollie Baker. He's just inside the Wexford 45-metre line, pucking into the breeze. He's made good contact with it, and it's 2 points apiece. A free taker of his calibre does not get that one from a place ball. There's the difference with Martin almost hitting the Offaly 45-metre line. PJ Nolan there as Quigley in support with him. Nolan just crowded out, but the loose man is Paul Morris. Morris got Wexford's first point, and they're not tight enough on him. There's a third for Wexford. They go back in front, 2 for Paul Morris, fulfilling his potential, his vast potential here already.
Yeah, what Shane Dooley can do at one end, Paul Morris certainly is standing up tonight, and that's a great score off his left-hand side as well.
Lower trajectory, and Wexford having an issue. A&M Martin, the puck out, caught the half-forward line out. That one wasn't a clean contact from A&M Martin in the Wexford goal, and that ball pucked into space. The foot race on to try and secure possession. Brian Carroll off his left side. Carroll, it looks good, it looks very good, and it is from Brian Carroll. Another Coolderry star. He's been doing it at the top level for Offaly in many years. Level for a third time, 3 points apiece.
Yeah, it's a great score, and as we mentioned, in a difficult night. I mean, that's what Offaly will love, is to get that open space.
Will take the freeze for Wexford. It's a big responsibility for the young man, 19 years of age. How's he hit that? Crowd reaction will tell you he's hit that brilliantly. That's a really good score from Jack Guiney, his first in Championship hurling, and Wexford nudge in front again, and the crowd starting to get involved, make their presence felt here in Tullamore. Well done, David Redmond. Gareth Sinnott, quick hands to put that into the space. Rory Jacob chasing it down, but David Franks there in front of him. Jacob not making it easy for the Offaly cornerback. Certainly. Diarmuid Ling pulling it back across the 20-metre line. Nobody from Offaly there on hand for it, but PJ Nolan, that's just shooting practice for Nolan, and a bit of daylight opens up between the two teams. But Ling, well, he was always going to pull it back across the 20-metre line, but nobody from Offaly read the intention, and an easy score for Nolan.
But it was good play, Dara, because so many times we've seen guys going for points from that angle, and maybe 1 out of 10 will go over the bar. He put it across into open play, and the Wexford player was very alert.
Wexford leading by 5 points to 3. Gareth Sinnott. Ollie Baker just gesturing to his team to lift it again. They've played some decent stuff, but it's Wexford with their noses in front. Quigley plays it short to PJ Nolan again. Horan needs to be tighter on him. Lovely skill from Nolan. No pressure on him, just trying to draw this in. It's held out there. It was Coolderry, remember, who beat them in the Leinster final. Now Diarmuid Ling really starting to motor for Wexford here in Tullamore. Offaly unable to get close enough to it, and Dempsey's reaction as he looks to the ground tell you that sailed over. Another fine score, and this a purple and gold patch for Wexford. They lead by 6 points to 3.
Yeah, it's great to see Dermotling back in action again. You know, kind of. I think it was away in the States there for a period of time, and back in the jersey of Wexford, and that's a fantastic score from the middle of the park.
I think reading about his journeys in the paper today, he was all over the place. There weren't too many places where Dylan
he's
was.
back in the Wexford jersey now, and I'm sure the people in Wexford are happy that he's back.
Where he wants to be. That was tucked away by Colin Egan of Offaly, cleared forward by Kieran Kenny, who's playing at centre-back for Wexford at the moment. There's David Kenny. The ball is still in play, and David Kenny penalised for hanging on to it too long. John Sexton, the Cork referee, right on top of what was happening there.
Yeah, people maybe thought he's gone over the line, and if it probably closer again. Look, as the ball's still in play. I mean, there was a line ball into Wexford in the first place. But it is noticeable, Darragh, right? There is a pep in the Wexford step. There is a bit of bite in their play, you know, and we didn't see that in the league campaign. I mean, they were very, very disappointing in the league campaign. And Liam Dunn has said this. He tried over 40 players in the league, and he used an average of 20 players in matches. So he seems to have got his best selection on the field of play tonight.
Jack Guiney again, difficult angle, pucking it on the right side, but that's a very nicely done score from Jack Guiney. Runs in the family, Dave and his uncle Rod. Dave is his dad. 7 points to 3, 2 in the space of 3 minutes for young Jack Guiney. And the puck-out's now starting to go Wexford's way. Gareth Sinnott having a tear at that from way out, but he's put it wide.
Yeah, but that shows the strength of the breeze as well, Darragh. I mean, the puck-outs from the Offaly side are just going close to the halfway line, and the breaking ball is all being picked up by Wexford.
Wexford have scored 4 without reply. The Offaly crowd over in the main stand wanted a free for a foul on Colin Egan. A couple of big hits going in, and a bit of an incident off the ball as we follow the play with Paul Morris, who's got 2. Free man inside. Goal chance for Wexford, and it is saved brilliantly. Absolutely wonderful save by James Dempsey. It was Diarmuid.
Ball into Wexford in the first place. But it is noticeable, Darragh, right? There is a pep in the Wexford step. There is a bit of bite in their play, you know, and we didn't see that in the league campaign. I mean, they were very, very disappointing in the league campaign. And Liam Dunn has said this. He tried over 40 players in the league, and he used an average of 20 players in matches. So he seems to have got his best selection on the field of play tonight.
Jack Guiney again, difficult angle, pucking it on the right side, but that's a very nicely done score from Jack Guiney.